My name is Dr. DocRussNatgeo1.avi. I'm a 43-year-old doctor of physical therapy, lifestyle, and weight loss coach. I want to thank you for this opportunity to tell you a little bit about who I am and where I live. So you want to know about the North Fork of Long Island. Well, a lot of people think of Long Island as being this one big continuous city. Well, not here. As a matter of fact, here, it's mostly farms and fishing communities. It's a beautiful place with wonderful scenery and wineries and cornfields and real honest-to-goodness people who work the land and work the sea. It's a great place to live. It's a wonderful place to grow up. And it's a pretty good place to have an adventure or two. As a matter of fact, right now we are in the Long Island Pine Barrens, which is a vast wilderness area. And it's a great place to take a hike or to do some mountain biking. And I thought this would be a really good place to start our tour. But we're not going to stop here. I hope you're ready to get wet, and we got to get moving because we got to get these kayaks in the water and we got some sailing to do. And you know what? We're even going to get on a ferry today. So sit back and enjoy because I'm going to show you where I'm from. So one of the questions you were asking is, what was it like to grow up in my family? Well, I have a brother and a sister, although they're much older than I, so I kind of grew up as an only child in a middle-class family. My dad drove a train, and my mom, she worked in a screwdriver factory, and she had an antique store. And one of the coolest memories I have of growing up is going around to all different parts of the country collecting antiques. The interesting part about antiques is every single one has a story. Every single one has a lesson to tell. I mean, I still do, I love to go to museums and I don't read the cards, at least not at first, because I want to try and figure out what it is that thing is. And it's that incredible curiosity that makes life really interesting, because you're never bored. If you can look at ordinary and not so ordinary items and think, what did this do? Or what can this do? Wow, that's a great way to live. So my dad drove a train for over 30 years. And you would think, after a while, looking at those rails day after day would become boring, but not for him. He managed to find something new, unique, and novel almost every day of his job. He was constantly coming home and telling stories of interesting things that would happen on the railroad. And then when he was home, he would always find interesting, exciting things to keep us involved in. I mean, it wasn't just about raising horses, it was about raising the food for the horses. And it wasn't just about boats, it was about really understanding the water. Dad really taught me the best way to live is to just keep being curious. So this is what's left of old steam engine 39. It was my father's very first job on the railroad. It was his job to shovel coal, shovel after shovel, mile after mile, and keep this old steam engine steaming along. So did I get to travel when I was young? Well, not out of the country. I mean, we went to Canada once, but we never really got an airplane. It was mostly in Dad's truck. We did a lot of camping. Spent a lot of time outdoors. Dad and Mom were campers. We had a trailer and a tent and a pop-up and anything you could imagine to just get outside when I was growing up. Dad had a great love for the outdoors, and Mom loved Dad, so she came along. Yeah, I did get to travel a lot. I got to meet a lot of really cool people. The thing about camping, which is most fun, is that you really get to know people. I mean, you stop by their campsite, even if you've just met them for the first time, and you sit by their campfire. You get to know them. I mean, gosh, we ended up with friends all over the country, from people we just met once. So, how would I describe myself? Well, people describe me as outgoing. Oh, I don't think the mountain bike cam's gonna work. You might find this hard to believe, but some of my friends think I'm a little crazy. And some of my critics think I'm a little too intense. I have to be honest with you. I think they're both right.
So, seriously, how would my friends describe me? Well, I'm outgoing, and I'm intuitive. I really love to listen to what they have to say. I don't know, I mean, everybody's got something interesting to talk about. Sometimes the magic is just drawing it out of them. And I really do make friends pretty quick. Mainly because I really want to learn about them. I found that if you take a little time to learn about somebody else, it's amazing the rich gifts they can offer you. It's amazing. I mean, everybody has something to offer. You just have to look for it. I agree, some people you have to look a little harder than others, but it's always there. Always. Anyway, I better get back to the truck before a ranger finds it. Hey! I had a friend of mine ask me the other day how I ever got into kayaking. And I started to think, you know, I almost never got into kayaking. When my son was, I don't know, 10 maybe, he asked for a kayak for his birthday. Now, I had already lost about 100 pounds at that point, but my first impulse was to say no. And the reason I was going to say no is because, well, I didn't think it was right for him to be out in the water all alone, and I really didn't believe that I was up to the challenge. It's amazing how obesity affects an entire family. I was allowing my disease to limit the possibilities of my own children. Well, I wasn't going to let that happen anyway. That was the old me. So I said, sure, let's go down to the kayak shop. Went down there and I asked the owner, do you have a kayak that'll fit a guy like me? He said, sure. And he put me into a kayak with a huge cockpit. I was able to get in and out, no problem. So AJ and I both got kayaks. We started kayaking. Geez, we kayaked everywhere. Maybe by the next summer, we kayaked 12 miles to go camping on the ocean. We've kayaked in Florida. We kayaked in upstate New York. Gosh, I kayak all over the place now. I'll tell you, I am so glad I didn't let that thought of getting in and out of a kayak limit me. So the question is, how do I feel about Western medicine? Well, you know, as a physical therapist, I've spent 20 years deeply ingrained in the Western medicine system. I mean, I started my career at the Veterans Administration. I've even worked here at the local hospital. And I've seen Western medicine literally perform miracles. People who were absolutely unable to walk, being completely restored by total hip and total knee replacements. Amazing, amazing work. But I've also seen some of the destructive side and the less than productive side of Western medicine. We hide behind what we call evidence-based. Just because we can't understand it doesn't mean it isn't valid. Just because we don't know exactly how it works doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And our system is broken. So much of our healthcare system is burdened down with bureaucracy and politics. I just think that when it comes to making people better, we should focus on the people. So you wanted to learn a little bit about where I'm from. Well, the town I'm from is called Kachog. It's an Indian name. And get ready, because if you blink, you might just miss it. What I'm standing in front of right now is the oldest house in New York State. It was built in 1649. One of the unique features of our town is that our public library is actually in a converted church. So one thing we do have in Kachog is a diner. To be honest with you, I don't eat in diners very much. We also have a barber shop, although I don't really need to go there either. And that's pretty much all there is to see in the town of Kachog. Let's go to my sister's house. So this is my sister's farm. She just recently renovated it. Okay, sweetie, say good morning. Come on, babe. So I'm at my sister's house, and no, this is not my sister. This is my sister's horse. My sister wasn't home.
so we'll have to talk to Sierra.
Hey, Sierra.
You know, one of the things that became a great pleasure for me after I lost all the weight was being able to ride horses again. You know, my father really gave me a passion for horses when I was young, but as I got to be about 200 pounds, it became impractical for me to ride. So now, as a 200-pound man, I can ride anytime I want. Well, that is, of course, if the horse stays. Sierra! I gotta go try to catch her.